Episode 2 of Season 2 of Silo is finally here. If you haven't watched the episode yet, be warned that this video contains spoilers, but I promise it'll be worth your while. This episode picks up from last week's relatively isolated story, where we witness Juliet stepping outside of Silo 18, walking over the hill, and entering Silo 17, a forgotten relic of the past. Unlike last week, this episode focuses on the aftermath of her actions and the ripple effects on the inhabitants of Silo 18. Tensions are rising, questions are being asked, and Bernard is scrambling to regain control amidst the growing unrest. The episode's conclusion hinted at a season-long exploration of division and shifting loyalties. Let's dive into the details of the episode and break down everything you need to know. Juliet's decision to cross the hill stands out as one of the most pivotal moments in the show's history. While its immediate consequences may not seem severe, her actions have set the stage for chaos and upheaval in Silo 18. The phrase, "she went over the hills," became a recurring motif throughout the episode, resonating across every level of the silo. This repetition emphasized just how significant her journey was. The peace and contentment within the silo largely depend on the fear ingrained in its residents, the belief that stepping outside means certain death due to the toxic air. However, Juliet's actions have introduced a glimmer of hope, the possibility of a clean world and freedom beyond the confines of the silo. If someone can survive and go further than anyone before, why remain trapped? What makes this development even more critical is Judge Meadows' reaction. Openly admitted to Bernard that she wanted to go outside. Her yearning reflects a shift in perspective that's likely to ripple through the population, spreading the desire for freedom to those at every level of the silo. Judge Meadows and the Wizard of Oz connection. Judge Meadows drew a parallel to the Wizard of Oz, referencing the wizard's escape in a hot air balloon at the end of a story. This metaphor symbolized her own journey as the judge of Silo 18 and her longing to leave the silo, mirroring the wizard's departure. Meadows' desire to escape reflects her internal struggle and hints at a deeper shift within the upper levels of power. Rising rebellion in the lower levels. The most significant impact of Juliet's actions was felt in the lower levels, where Shirley began to rally for a rebellion. Believing that Juliet was still alive and knowing Bernard had lied about the tape's origins, Shirley's mistrust of the higher-ups grew. Bernard claimed Juliet's survival was due to a new type of tape used on her suit, but Shirley knew the truth, that Walker had secretly provided the tape. This revelation confirmed to her and others in Mechanical that those in power couldn't be trusted, fueling their motivation for resistance. The population of Silo 18 is now dividing into two factions, believers and non-believers in Juliet's survival. The latter group, driven by their frustration and need for answers, is likely to resort to violence if their demands aren't met. A powerful symbol of this growing unrest appeared in the form of graffiti spreading across various levels of the silo. The letters JL became a rallying cry for those mourning Juliet and seeking change. Walker, Shirley, Cooper, and others in Mechanical are likely to continue using the symbol to inspire rebellion and spread the message throughout Silo 18, turning it into a spark that could ignite widespread chaos. A tinderbox waiting to ignite. In this episode, the silo is aptly described as a tinderbox. The message that Juliet lives is the spark threatening to ignite chaos, both metaphorically and potentially literally. The tension within Silo 18 continues to build as people question the truth, and the divide between factions grows deeper. Jules's father and his grief. One poignant scene focused on Jules's father, who is clearly grieving the loss of his daughter. The uncertainty of whether she was alive or dead planted a seed of doubt in his mind. While at work, he cared for a young girl with a dislocated shoulder. As he cradled the child, he repeatedly muttered, poor little girl," reflecting his sorrow for Jules. This moment was symbolic of his mourning, not just for the possible loss of his daughter, but also for the time he lost with her. Jules had believed he was responsible for her mother's death and avoided him for much of her life. Just as their relationship was beginning to mend, she was taken away. This unresolved pain could push him to join the rebellion, seeking answers and justice for his daughter. Paul's role and growing doubts. Paul's development as a character is also tied to the fallout from Juliet's actions. Set to become the next sheriff, Paul and the rest of the sheriff's staff are required to report to Judicial, specifically to Sims. While Paul had been hesitant about Jules's motivations in the past, his exposure to the truth during the Season 1 finale has shifted his perspective. Through the book passed down by the Flamekeepers and his own observations of Juliet's actions, Paul now harbors doubts about the validity of the rules keeping everyone trapped inside the silo. Witnessing Juliet's decision to go over the hill has only deepened these doubts, making him question not only her motives, but also the very reasoning behind the silo's oppressive system. These threads, Paul's growing mistrust, Jules's father's grief, and the volatile state of the silo, are setting the stage for the rebellion to erupt and the balance of power to be challenged. Paul's growing skepticism and shift in loyalties. Paul's conversation with Sims revealed his growing doubts about the official narrative surrounding Juliet's actions. Sims claimed that George tried to escape, contradicting Juliet's own statement that she willingly wanted to go outside. Additionally, Bernard's destruction of the hard drive, the relic central to the conspiracy, only fueled Paul's mistrust. This growing dissonance suggests that Paul, a figure of authority meant to enforce the silo's rules, may soon switch sides. Similar to the sheriff in Silo 17 who eventually joined the rebellion, Paul appears to be on the verge of aligning with those questioning the system. The atmosphere in Silo 18 has reached an unprecedented level of tension, sparked by Juliet's decision to walk over the hill. Bernard's fear. The episode opened with Bernard reviewing footage from Juliet's body cam as she ventured over the hill towards Silo 17. This was a perspective only Bernard had access to, and it revealed a chilling sight: a sea of dead bodies from a failed rebellion in Silo 17, a grim reminder of the consequences of challenging the system. The sight of those bodies was a stark warning of what might happen to his own silo now that the fragile peace had been disrupted. His fear wasn't just for himself, but for the entire population of Silo 18, which he now believed was at risk of meeting the same fate as Silo 17. He even admitted that he regretted not sending Juliet to the mines when the tape was first stolen, acknowledging that her continued survival had become an uncontrollable problem. Desperation drove Bernard to act, immediately turning to the Order for guidance and trying to maintain control. However, his actions revealed his lack of preparation and his inability to manage the rebellion brewing within the silo. Bernard's isolation was also evident. He expressed doubts about Sims's strength as a shadow, which left him feeling unsupported in the face of mounting chaos. This fear underscores the precariousness of Bernard's position and sets the stage for how he will attempt to maintain his grip on power as events spiral further out of control. Bernard's desperation and Meadows' role. Faced with mounting pressure, Bernard turned to Judge Meadows for help. Their long-standing relationship gave him confidence in her understanding of his challenges. He gained her approval and backing by explaining the situation involving the tape, which helped him temporarily restore order and regain the support of most of Silo 18's residents. However, Bernard knows this solution is fleeting. To maintain control, he has started implementing preventative measures, including restricting access to weapons, signaling that he may be preparing for an eventual conflict. Meanwhile, Judge Meadows' own intentions are intriguing. Her expressed desire to go outside, potentially using properly administered tape, raises the possibility that she might seek to explore Silo 17. Bernard struggles. Bernard's actions reveal that he is operating without a clear plan, blind to how events might unfold. His uncertainty about overcoming the rebellion brewing within the silo makes the future unpredictable and tense. Episode review. This episode was a standout, offering a sharp contrast to last week's quieter, more contained installment that focused solely on Juliet's journey in Silo 17. The shift in focus to Silo 18 allowed us to see how Juliet's actions have sparked widespread reactions among the residents and altered the overall atmosphere. The disagreements between Shirley and Knox reflect the broader theme of division within the silo. Their inability to see eye to eye symbolizes the deeper fractures forming across different societal levels. If those two can't agree, it's unlikely that people from the upper and lower levels of the silo will share common views on the unfolding events. With such tensions brewing, violence feels inevitable, making the stakes higher than ever. The impact of Walker's recorded interrogation. Walker being recorded in the cell while discussing the tape is a significant plot point that is likely to have consequences. Most residents of the silo remain unaware that their actions and conversations are constantly monitored and recorded. Walker and Carla, placed in a cell and informed they would face interrogation, naturally started aligning their stories, not realizing that everything they said was being captured on video. This strategic move by the authorities is bound to play a pivotal role in upcoming episodes. I'm hopeful that the next episode will split the narrative between the two silos, allowing the story to progress more naturally. This dual perspective could add depth to the unfolding drama, especially with the unresolved mystery surrounding who or what is behind the door. Division at the core. Division was undoubtedly the central theme of this episode. Whether it was the clash between Shirley and Knox, the strained dynamic between Sims and Bernard, or the ideological split between the believers and non-believers, tensions were brewing at every level of the silo. These divisions seem poised to erupt into conflict, creating an explosive scenario that promises compelling developments in the episodes to come. So this is Silo Season 2 Episode 2 Ending Explained. If you liked the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and leave a comment. If there's anything specific you'd like to see in future videos, feel free to drop your suggestions in the comments below. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button.
See you next time.